Nah, I wouldn't say this is efficient. But smallholder farmers driving their heavy-duty convertible tractors or even plowing with a pair of oxen is exactly what Indian agriculture looks like. So how can India ever become the largest egg superpower in the world? Well, it turns out there is a lot more going on in the Indian egg industry. And all these things happening in the background might very well add up to India being the agricultural superpower one day. The funny thing is that day may come sooner than anybody would expect. Although the Indian farmers use, for the most part, pretty outdated equipment, India is the world's largest producer of milk, pulses and jute, and ranks as the second largest producer of rice, wheat, sugarcane, groundnut, vegetables, fruit and cotton. It is also one of the leading producers of spices, fish, poultry, livestock and plantation crops. That's facts. FAO facts to be precise. I would say that this is possible basically only thanks to the fact that, well, this was supposed to be the part where I explain how India manages to be up there with the top players like the US or China, but when searching online for the information that I can base my argumentation on, there wasn't really that much of it. I found only 4 or 5 sort of valid sources for every query, but they were all contradictory to one another. Anyways, the reasons why India is in the top 3 egg producers are: the Indian arable land area is somewhere in the top 3. Then about 15 to 60% is employed in agriculture, with 60 being cited more often in multiple sources. So we are talking tens to hundreds of millions of farmers and agricultural workers, more or less. And the average farm size should be around 1 to 2.5 hectares, or about 2.4 to 6.1 acres. Like Statista though, I assume no liability for the information just given being complete or correct, but I mean, it seems sort of plausible. So the summary of the situation is lots of arable land, boatloads of farmers using older equipment, and each one of them has a small plot. And together they somehow manage to grow gargantuan amounts of egg produce. India is a developing country, but since it's been developing for quite some time now, there is already a number of positive developments to be seen. For example, indoor farms like this one in Mumbai or this one in Noida, a satellite city of Delhi. There is actually a company named Barton Breeze that's constructing and operating pretty decent hydroponic greenhouses and container farms across entire India. There is another company named Rise Hydroponics that's also setting up projects across the whole country. But on top of that, they claim to have trained about 35,000 people in hydroponics to date, so that they can set up and grow their own stuff at home. I think that we'll soon see companies with state-of-the-art facilities like Plenty or Arrow Farms just swarming there. Well, this was enough good news for now, but we'll get back to them later. And trust me, it only keeps on getting more interesting from here. The Indian farmers actually have something I believe many of their counterparts in the US or Europe would envy. I'll elaborate on that later, but now we need to take a look at the things going on with the Indian organic farming industry. It's in a very dire situation. There, the total farmland area under organic cultivation is about 1 to 2%. In the US it's also only 1%. But India has already seen lots of scandals with farmers/merchants labeling their food as organic and asking even quadruple the price when in reality it was normal produce sprayed with conventional stuff. And they even export that shit. Huh. I thought there was more bad news. Never mind. Now back to the good stuff. Apparently, there is this NGO called Crop Care Federation of India. As I understand it, it's a group of most of the major agrochemical companies in India that does all the lobbying stuff and so on. But what they also do is provide education on the best farming practices to the farmers in the rural areas. On top of that, they run call centers with agronomists that provide free counseling to the farmers that call in. Then there is this company named Hyderabad Chemicals, which isn't listed among the members of the CCFI, but also takes care of the local farmers in that they provide 25,000 free soil tests to farmers every year, with an individual explanation. But as I am saying this out loud now, it seems sort of like a fairy tale. Well, the source for this info is this video, which was due to some magical coincidence made by the CCFI. Yeah, chances are that the free tests and call centers can be true, but I think it's not all that bright as they portray it. Also, there is this organization called Future Agricultural Leaders of India, which spreads awareness about modern farming practices among elementary school age children and gives them theoretical as well as practical knowledge. Which is good, by all means. But it's again an organization created by some of the members of the CCFI, so yeah, let's just hope that they teach the kids something valuable and not just that to grow crops, a farmer needs to buy their latest whatever compound. Not that I'm against compounds, everybody needs to be able to protect the crop, but as we see with Monsanto or John Deere, not all of their business practices are farmer friendly. I already see all the nice comments from folks that say they bleed green. My overall take on the state and prospects of Indian agriculture is that it can and most likely will catch up very soon to the productivity rate of the developed world farms, because it took decades, if not centuries, of continuous development of farming practices and machinery that enabled this guy to grow 600 bushels of corn per acre. 600! What the fuck? But now all this technology is already out there and the Indians can just import it and tweak it a bit for their environment without all the years and years of development. And when they adopt all this, they will most likely become the #1 producer in the world. I hope you liked this video. Feel free to comment whatever you want. And thanks for watching. FAO facts to be precise.